Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm gonna do a quick little shoot. It'll be one continuous take to minimize my editing so I can get a video out. I have 3 hockeys today, so I gotta take advantage of the sunlight on the weekend and just my lack of time right now. So stick around and let's go explore what is going on. So first thing is we've been planting more stuff. So this is a mulberry tree that we got from our friend Paul. So Paul, thank you very much for that. We're gonna put it right at the centerpiece of this little peninsula in the Old Man Walking Trail. You can see the nice trail kind of coming along, and we're gonna start planting this area out. This mulberry tree is gonna be the centerpiece tree for this area when we eventually take down this ash. So we'll have to take down that ash. It's not showing any signs of ash borer yet. So we're kind of holding on to it for now, and you can see I've been drying this pile out with this tarp. This is just prunings and cuttings that will turn into biochar. And we have also been winterizing the pond. So we'll go take a look at the pond, and basically to winterize this I shut off the pumps, and this is the lower reservoir, so you can see there's no flow into this lower waterfall here. And then the pumps are in here, and we basically, one-handed, I won't be able to do it. We basically unscrew this, and there's no check valve in this line, so this pushes up to the waterfall, and we want to get the water out of that line. So we unscrew that and gravity drain it back into the pond. Well, so I'll do that afterwards. And everything is kind of going to sleep. You can see I've got the hoses out here because I was using that pond reservoir water to water some of my other plants as well, just to get that nutrient inoculation going. And the pond is looking kind of wild and crazy for the fall. We have been purposely leaving the water hyacinths in here to decay and rot. We've been purposely leaving some leaves in the pond to decay and rot. And the reason for that is that we have a fairly high pH right now with all the limestone, and we want to get some carbon into the water. So the carbon will break down into carbonic acid and will kind of acidify the pond a little bit, and that'll off balance some of the lime. So typically you'd want to remove this organic matter, but for us particularly, us specifically with our current pond pH, we actually want this to decay. So that's kind of a little neat, little interesting thing. You can see the lotus was up here, and I pulled it down to the lower area. And same with some plants over here. They're in these hanging baskets, and I pulled those down as well. And that is because these pond plants can't tolerate freezing, but they can actually get cold. So you want them just slightly below the surface of the water. You can see this little island of water hyacinths the fish are kind of using as a hideout. Let's jump across the waterfall here. Sorry for any motion of the camera there. So the fish are kind of using that as a hideout from birds of prey. So they actually kind of chill and hang out under there. I don't know how well can you see that. And they're kind of going into winter dormant period, trying to stay as still as they can. And you can see right here, these are some of those pond plants where I dropped them down a level. And they're just going to chill out there on the second shelf where they won't freeze solid. So we still have this upper waterfall running. We'll have to shut that off. I mean, we don't technically have to shut it off because flowing water won't freeze. But if we did lose power at like 4 in the morning, then I don't want those lines to freeze and maybe crack some of the piping. So we will go ahead and shut those off. We've been eating so many apples off this tree and just can't keep up. a really nice problem to have. So here is the food forest. The peaches are holding on to their leaves, one of the last trees to actually keep their leaves, so that's kind of a nice element to think about in your design. Peaches are kind of nice for that when everything else is looking like this serviceberry here. Just drop their leaves completely, this elderberry. The peaches actually keep their leaves. And you can see the comfrey looks pretty nice too. I mean, as far as anything's going to look nice in this late fall here. Looks like the doggos knocked over my water, my bird bath here. So I'll pick that up as well. But here's the food forest at the end of the season. Stay tuned. I have a year in review video where I've been taking some small shots of the food forest every couple weeks or so throughout the whole year, and we're going to stitch those together into a really exciting kind of like a time lapse, and you guys can watch the food forest change over the entirety of this year. That will be kind of fun. But the nice leaves really add some nice color. I like walking under this tree. I just love this area. I can't wait for this to fill in, so we kind of have a little secret tunnel in here. And we've been really adding wildflowers and wild seeds that we harvest right now in these areas here, just to get the pollination happening, because this is the border of my property and we actually want to bring pollinators in from the edges. So anywhere you have the edge of your property, consider putting tons and tons of wildflowers and pollinator tractors to bring those pollinators and those insect predators in towards your land. So we've been really fleshing that out quite a bit. So that is pretty much it for the little quick walk around update. We don't rake our leaves up, we just shred them. So I'll mow here and I'll shred it and shoot it onto the food forest. This is all valuable nutrients, so if you're one of those people who goes around raking your leaves up in your lawn, consider putting at least some of that back, because that nutrient is the tree cycling its nutrients back to feed itself next year. So if you're taking those leaves away, then the tree turns into a sustainable regenerative creature, and the tree then turns into a nutrient miner, because it's taking nutrients, growing with it, putting those nutrients into the leaves, and then when it tries to return those nutrients, you're intercepting that process and you're putting it back down at the end of your driveway and giving it to the municipality. So definitely consider leaving some of those leaves. Let them fall in the grass. Don't cut your grass for a bit. Let the grasses grow, and then when you do come and cut, you're going to be mulching a nice high carbon source and a high nitrogen source together, and they'll decompose into soil very quickly. So thanks for watching. I think the next thing I'm going to do is probably maybe deal with this wood chip pile, maybe move my compost and get it all set up for the winter. I still have a bin of compost back here that I want to move into the backyard so that I can get that empty, so that's a nice easy place for me to get in the winter time. So I'm probably going to do that today as well. And then just more wood chips, refresh the wood chips on all this. That fungal mycelial net is just so critical for your plants. That's how they communicate back and forth, how they share nutrients back and forth. And your tree is capturing all that carbon from the air and, you know, through photosynthesis, turning it into soil food. So what a lot of people don't know is the tree captures all that CO2 from the air, but it doesn't turn it all into leaves. In fact, part of what I, have fallen in love with plants happened in two stages. First, I realized that the trees are just really magical because they're pulling a gas out of the air and they're turning it into a physical, hard solid in their bodies and their leaves. I just think that is fascinating and fantastic. Super cool that you have this organism that's turning air into material and storing it. But the second phase of my love for trees happened when I realized that that's only about 25% of the CO2. So if you didn't know, 75% of the CO2 does not go into making the tree. It actually gets pushed out the tree roots via plant root exudates, which are sugars, fats, and proteins, mostly sugars, that go to feed the soil life, specifically from trees. They really pump out a ton of exudates that feed the mycorrhizal network of fungi that feed all of the plants, connect everything underground, and are probably the MVPs of this planet. They're the nutrient recyclers. So trees and mushrooms, specifically the mycorrhizal root connecting mushroom network, is really the MVP of your food forest. So whatever you can do to maximize that relationship, you should. And in the fall time, that means getting leaf bags, shredding them up, putting them on your gardens. And it means anytime you have the ability to get wood chips, sawdust, any kind of carbon material that you can lay down on the ground as well and feed those mushrooms. So important. So that's enough of a ramble. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed this season as much as I did, and I hope you'll catch me on the next season. I'll still be putting out videos, but it'll be more like every 2 weeks compared to the every 2 or 3 days in the summertime. It's just how it goes with hockey and work and short days. I come home, and I don't know if anyone's seen the shorts video that I put out the other day. That's what my life is like. I leave when it's dark, I come back home when it's dark. It's just kind of depressing, but it only lasts for a month or so, and this is going to be a nice little month break where we can plan out what we're doing next year and really get excited to watch this food forest come alive. So start your plans, guys and ladies. Start your plans for making your own food forest. Do something, even if it's a small little spot in a wild area that you don't own, but you kind of know that no one else watches it. You know, go start a little food forest there. Plant something for the bees and the birds. Nature is going to thank you. So I thank you. Thanks for watching. And guys, I'll see you on the next video.